So here's how this is going to work. First off, I've seeded you all 100 nickels. And we're going to bet per question. I've got 10 questions locked and loaded. We're just going to go to 8 p.m. though. So if we don't get through all 10, we don't get through all 10. Who cares? So each contestant is going to get 3 minutes on the topic. We'll alternate who starts first. And after they've gone, we'll get 1 minute rebuttals from each contestant. So they'll get 4 minutes each on each topic. And then we're going to kind of poll the chat who they think won. And then I'm going to make the decision. Ultimately, the decision comes down to me because I am power tripping. And that's how it goes. And whoever has the most victories in this match ends up being our debate club champion and receives $10 million that I will never pay. So, should be a fun time. And question 1 is already on the screen. We're going to start with Handsome Will. How much should Howlrunner cost? We're talking, you get a say, Jumo. I don't know how to say your name. DJ, you get a say. It's just not the final say. You get it. All right. Will, how much should Howlrunner cost? Your time starts now.
Okay. Howlrunner, we know her, we love her. TIE Fighter that gives everybody rerolls. And I'm going to put Howlrunner's point cost at more than she is now. And that number is 46 points? What are they even in X-Wing?
Yeah, they're points.
Points, I guess. Sure. 46 points. And the reason I'm landing on 46 points is that Howlrunner is a multiplication effect. The more ships you have, the more that that effect can reach to. It makes it more powerful. Now, 46 is the number left over after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 TIE fighters. Right now, in X-Wing, your limit is 2 to 8 ships, and that allows Howlrunner then to give her exponential rerolling effects to the maximum amount of ships possible in a current 200-point list, but allows no other upgrades available. You'll have to run Academy pilots, and that is going to put a big target on Howlrunner. Agreed. But I don't think that her ability, while it is powerful, should include anything more than that. What I mean by that is that I don't want her to have anything more than just the 7 with her. Now, you want to drop one of those for more points to play with? That's on you. Maybe get some landing in there. I don't know. But I think her ability is extremely powerful. Nobody's utilizing her at all right now, especially with TIE fighters being the only named pilots in hyperspace. So I think that Howlrunner should not only stay at the same cost, but in fact increase in cost. Now, it will affect how people view her, but I believe from Wave 1, Edition 1, Howlrunner has been the backbone of the TIE Swarm. And that is never going to change, no matter what her point cost is. You can cost her at more than that, less than that? Sure. But the threshold remains at 46 points to fit her with the maximum amount of TIE fighters, which is 7 of them.
All right. So Will advocating more. Wait, turn these lights on. Yeah. Professional streamer. All right, Ryan. Your 3 minutes starts now. How much should Howlrunner cost?
All right. So I'm going to be honest. I am shocked at Will's statement because Howlrunner is clearly overpriced. We have been advocating for the free Howlrunner movement for months and months. And we're looking at a situation where Howl Runner still isn't seeing competitive play. How can you justify increasing the points on a ship that isn't competitive? I advocate Howl Runner drops. Howl Runner drops a full 10 points down to 34 points. So right now, you get Howl Runner, you get an Atai Swarm, you have 2 points left over. That's not nearly enough to make Howl Runner worthwhile, because she's going to die in the first round of combat every time, guaranteed. So, 34 points. Why 34 points? I did a lot of math today. I had her at 35. I realized I was wrong, and I needed that extra point. At 34 points, you can run Howl Runner and every I-5 and I-4 TIE Fighter with 8 points to spare, so you can finally get that shield upgrade on Howl Runner and actually make her survive. This also allows you to do a Swarm Tactics list. You put Howl Runner, you put Iden, you get 4 Black Squadron Aces, all with Swarm Tactics. Everybody gets Swarm Tactics. You actually have a chance for your ships to shoot before they die, which is amazing. 3 hull, 3 agility ships simply cannot survive in this current meta with what we see running around. We have the TIE Advanced Prototypes flying with Thread Tracers and Prockets. They're going to nuke your ships without even trying. You got to give them a chance. You have to let these ships actually get a shot off before they die. So I strongly advocate Howl Runner at 34 points. I know that might seem very low to people, but I think we need to give Howl Runner the Leia treatment. We need to drop her down. We need to get her to play, so that way we can run Howl Runner. We can see her in the game, and then once we realize that she is a powerhouse, then we can eventually bring her back up and make her something that people are aware exists, people realize are good, and then they'll go, oh, I can justify paying more points. But we need a shock to the X-Wing system. We need to surprise people, get them to play this ship, and then bring her back up to accommodate the change. Thank you.
All right. Will says 46. Ryan saying 34. I'm going to let you know right now. The chat was shocked, Will. Shocked. Hey, saying it needs to go up. But Ryan, I have to say, the chat was equally shocked by you dropping her down to 34. I'm going to give you each a minute to rebut while I start the poll on who you guys want. So, Will, your rebuttal to Ryan's 34 points. It starts now.
34 points. You compare it to Leia, which is nowhere near the Leia crew, nowhere near the effect. Now, this is an ability that affects every ship, and in fact affects the best thing you can do in the game, which is attack your opponents. Getting multiple dice mods is the best thing you can do in the game. Focus, reroll your offense. That's understated how easy it is for anybody near her to get that ability off. This isn't some ship you should be able to just slap in any list, put it with a bunch of upgrades so that it becomes a defining feature. She's not an ace, she's not nothing, but a swarm super piece. And I think people are undervaluing her right now, and in fact, she is better than what people think.
Yeah. I love being a hard ass about inconsequential time limit. Ryan, your rebuttal to Will's 46 points. Your minute starts now.
So I already started alluding to this in my original statements. Howl Runner does not see play at 44 points. At 44 points, she sits in my card binder. She's a very pretty card in my binder, but she sits in my card binder. At 46 points, she doesn't even earn a spot in my card binder. She ends up somewhere on a shelf, tucked away in the back, with a little sad note that says, "I'll miss you," stapled to her. That's right, stapled, not sticky noted, because that's how dead she'll be. Not even worth putting in the binder. At 46 points, Howl Runner now accounts for 25% of your list nearly. You can't even put upgrades on her because if you do, she is the 25% of your list. No ship that is that squishy should ever be that much of your list. People are constantly saying, well, Iden's there to protect Howl Runner. Well, guess what? You're going to lose Howl Runner, then you're going to lose Iden as well. So we keep her low, we make her usable, and then you actually will see her. And again, we can bring her up later.
All right. What a spirited debate, rivaling the best. The poll is still open. Who do you think won it? We're going to analyze it. Here's my thoughts, like no one asked for, but here's my thoughts. 46, way too high. It needs to go down. 34, way too low. I think there's probably a happy middle ground to be had there, somewhere in the 39-40 range. People are currently betting. That vote is almost up, and 9-2 in favor of MrRockerCrocker here. Going up, not a popular decision. In the end, it is a 3 health ship. Does also have 3 agility, and Iden does give it basically 6 health. But I mean, listen, I made a t-shirt called Free Howl Runner. There was no way I'm giving it to the guy who goes, we should raise the point. Let's go into MrRockerCrocker. All right, so we'll pay out the right side. Let's open betting for round 2. Bets are open for round 2. Round 2 is going to be the best ship chassis in the game. Let me update the background to reflect that. Best ship chassis in the game. Get your bets in. There's going to be not a lot of time between these. So do it now. Who do you think's going to win this one? Handsome Will or MrRockerCrocker? Will, would you play Howl Runner at 46 points? Would you ever have Howl Runner in an Empire list at 46 points?
I mean, would I have her in a Howl Runner list at 44 is the question. I mean, yeah, of course. But I don't fly TIE swarms because they're not as good as literally the 6 other swarms you can fly.
Yeah. I mean, but isn't that more of an argument for Howl Runner to come down in points to get you upgrades to make TIE swarms?
Let me I think I can answer your question here. At 32 points, I could put her with 6 Barons, and I'm in on that.
Oh man.
I didn't go low enough.
No,
didn't go low enough.
I don't think that's great. That's bad.
I would have got some Will's phone at 32.
That's broken. We don't need that. All right. The best chassis in X-Wing. Ryan, we are going to start with you this time. Your 3 minutes starts now.
So, I've been playing since May of 2013. I've seen a lot of X-Wing ships. I've seen a lot of great ones. I've seen a lot of awful ones. Currently, in 2nd edition, because of where the points stand, where the meta's at, how the ships fly, the single best chassis is the Fire Spray. We've got 2 factions that can use it, Separatists and Scum. Either one, beautiful ship. Works pretty well. Why the Fire Spray? First of all, the Fire Spray has plenty of health. The Fire Spray can tank some shots. The other day I was playing X-Wing. I two-shotted Nom Lom. A Fire Spray isn't going to get two-shotted like a Nom Lom because it also has agility to back up that health. Now, granted, Fire Sprays may be a little annoying to people. They might be sick of them. But the reason you're sick of them is because they've performed well. They've done well. They have great upgrade potential. You can put the configuration. Not the configuration. The titles on them. You have options. You have chances to change around what you do on it. You have 2 arcs. The arcs are 3 attack dice each. So, whether you're shooting out the front or the back, you're shooting for the same amount. It does really, really, really well at that. Finally, they have one of the best action bars in the game. Now people will go, oh, you're crazy. The action bar, compare it to a silencer, compare it to a interceptor. Why would you do that? Because you got to look at the fact that this has boost on a medium-based ship. It has reinforce, which allows you to soak up some more hit points. Guess what? You're not doing that with a JM5K. Those don't have reinforce. They're not helping themselves. Fire Spray also has the ability to upgrade itself with amazing crew. Scum has some of the best crew available, so it's got that going for it. It's got gunners if you put on the right title, and we know how amazing the gunners are for the Fire Spray. That's why we keep seeing them on the Fire Sprays. Ever since they took the crew slot away from Boba, we all went to Han. Han, great thing. Great guy. And he basically works as a linked action, which makes him even better. So in my mind, Fire Spray, one of the best ships in the game. It's one of the most consistent ships because of what it can do, and it can really take down a game, as we've seen all along. Thank you.
All right. I just want to point out that chat has, I think it was Navi who was first on it, but literally everyone else wants to note that the Fire Sprays and the Jump Masters have the exact same agility. So I'm not 100% sure where your argument was going on there, but Will, your 3 minutes, best chassis in the game. What is it? Starts now.
All right. My best chassis for the game of X-Wing goes back to a little game called Dark Forces. Yeah, that's right. I'm referring to the Moldy Crow itself, the Hawk 290. Now, while it may not boast an enormous amount of health, it certainly is affordable and has some of the best action bar and upgrade slots in the entire game. Let me just run a quick down all of its available actions simply on its action bar. Focus linked rotate, lock linked rotate. What, 2 different options? White rotate, not even restricted to linking actions like a Jump Master. Boost and Jam. Granted, they're both red, but engine upgrade only costs 2 points, and the Hawk 290 has an extra modification slot, 2 total, for that engine upgrade. Now, it does only start with the 2-die mobile arc, but you do get a 360, easy linked actions, plus you can strap the Molded Crow 3-dice primary out the front of the ship as well. Well, front gun and side arc guns, that's only covering half your arcs. Well, let me tell you about its bomb slot as well. That's going to cover your rear arc on there then too. Not only does it have some of the best kinds of weapons, turrets, front arc 3-dice gun, and bombs, you're going to get some of the best slots as well. That's the crew slot. Best upgrades for both Scum and Rebels are their crew by far. You're also going to get the illicit slot. False transponder codes, contraband, dead man switch, all of the utility options that's really going to make this ship sing. Now, it doesn't have a K-turn, but it does have a stop. You don't really need a K-turn if you got a turret on you as well. And that's not even to get into the outrageousness of Janor's Torko Mux and Palab Gadal. Pilots who have pushed this chassis far beyond its simple, modest 3-hull, 2 shields. I'm going to land my argument on this simple fact that the Hawk has doubled its attack value since first edition. That's twice as good for your value. I'm putting the Hawk 290 as the best chassis in the game.
All right. I mean, listen, when Ryan came out with that agility argument, I was like, there's no way that Will can let this one get away from him. And then Will came out with the Hawk, which no one's. I don't know. It's up in the air. I'm going to start the poll. Who do you guys think won this debate? But not before we get to the rebuttals. Ryan, what is your rebuttal to the Hawk 290 being the best chassis in X?
All right. So Will completely shocked me with this one. I never would have seen the Hawk. The reason I never would have seen the Hawk is because nobody would have ever voted for the Hawk. But now that I've listened to Will and I've absorbed what he has to say, I'm wondering where this came from. How could he have picked the Hawk? And as I sit here and I think about it, I realize he's talking about the Moldy Crow title, which, by the way, not part of the chassis, but is a great title. I'll give you that. He's talking about the bombs. Guess what? I got bombs too. I take the Andrasta. Now I get to reload my bombs. Try doing that with a Hawk. But most of all, I want to end with this, and I see that I'm running out of time. So I want to make sure that I really make this point clear, and I save it till the very last second. So I'm holding out. I'm stalling a little bit, and I apologize for wasting your time like this, everybody. But clearly Will picked the Hawk because he was at SnowCon in Maine, Bangor, Maine, and he saw me take down 7. That's right, 7 Z95 with an ion cannon turret Hawk.
All right. I don't think Will was. I think that's probably a bad argument, but we'll see. Will, your response to the Fire Spray being the best chassis in the game?
I mean, if you consider undercosted the qualifying factor of making it the best chassis, sure, I could see that point. I mean, does the Fire Spray do anything that the Hawk can't do? Turret out the rear? Check. Boost action? Check. Bombs? Check. But the Fire Spray cost easily half your list. And here's the thing, too. All the Fire Spray diehards, aren't even loyal to those scum pilots. They see a brand new blue Fire Spray in a different faction, they're jumping ship immediately to get to that other new, hot, cheap Fire Spray. Now, can I sit here and declare that they are too cheap? No. We'll let the people in charge of the points documents rule on that. But the Fire Spray has been undercosted for so long that they had to remove a...
Before I declare the winner of this one, I want to say that chassis, the Moldy Crow, you can't consider the Moldy Crow as part of the chassis, just an available to take. And also the point about them going to the CIS Fire Spray, I feel like that could also apply to the scum being able to use the Hawk. There's no loyalty here. No one's loyal to the Hawk. But that said, I think, is the Fire Spray a better ship than the Hawk 290? Of course. But I think Will's argument was better. I think Will came prepared. And I gotta say that the Nomlum thing really tipped that argument for me. So we're gonna give this one to Handsome Will. Evening out that score 1-1. All right, we're gonna open up betting for this third question that I did not put in the thing already. This question is, what X-Wing ship, okay, so I probably phrased this weird. Which ship in X-Wing do you want to see recanonized in, new Star Wars canon? So what ship from X-Wing should be put into the Star Wars canon? We'll give everyone a little bit of time to make their bets here. And I want to say thank you to Rebel Maverick for the resub. 9 months. We have a baby now. I do like Hawks. I think the chassis argument kind of negated the fact that their pilot abilities are really, really good.
I mean, what isn't a Hawk just a tiny little Fire Spray, though? Let's be honest with ourselves.
The Hawk is a beautiful creature. Let's be real.
Man, I lived for those Dark Forces games. When that game came out, I literally installed it on like 7 floppy disks. Remember, like the 5.25 inch floppy disk?
Mm-hmm.
I played the crap out of that. Simotique says the Hawk is ugly.
Well, he's wrong.
All right. Fair enough.
Will made a great point, though. The Hawk did double its attack value to second edition and became a turret.
Yeah, I think also.
Yeah.
Like, that's like 4 times better.
I think the another good point is the linked action of focus rotate on a Hawk. Even if you don't have the Moldy Crow, that's pretty good. Being able to always
No.
100% coverage. You'll never not get a shot if your Hawk is in range. Like that's really good.
To be fair, I don't normally put the Moldy Crow on my Hawks. You'd be surprised what that side arc turret could actually do.
Yep.
Like, especially like Torkoal. Like, you don't want to fly towards the enemy. Keep him at range 3.
Absolutely. All right. So which ship in X-Wing should be recanonized? We're going to start this one with Handsome Will Haigwood. Bets are even 4-4 each, so they've got faith in both of you. Will, your 3 minutes starts now.
All right. If this doesn't surprise anybody, I don't know why. Sometimes you start sentences and you eat up your debate time. My answer is the K-Wing. All right. Formerly with the New Republic, along with the a couple other ships, that Legends has been tossed out. But I want to get the fishing rod out and reel her back in. And my main reason, at the number top here is that it got replaced by the Star Fortress. They thought that a shrimp ship that would drop a bunch of magnetic bombs out of it was going to somehow be way cooler than the K-Wing, which is just absurd, by the way. The K-Wing while it didn't have a hyperdrive, it boasted missiles, torpedoes, space bombs, all the bombs. Could even travel through sublight super fast. Let's call it a slam maneuver. And I just think that, can we curse?
Yeah, buddy. This ain't GSP. This ain't GSP.
I know. I'm used to the GSP. But they bastardized.
That's not even a curse.
The bombing. Well, whatever. Get off my back. They bastardized the New Republic bombers by putting those MG-100 Star Fortresses in there. It would have been beautiful to see a fleet of K-Wings burst out, missiles launching, bombs dropping, instead of the horrendous scene we had of the Star Fortresses in The Last Jedi. I believe that Paige Tico would have reunited with her sister following a perfectly executed plan, if only the New Republic had chosen the K-Wing.
Oh my. You have 35 seconds left. Are you good? You don't have to use all the time.
Let's just all remember together how bad Last Jedi was, and then just collectively imagine.
Debate club has gone away. It's gotten away from me already. Third question. All right. Ryan, what ship do you want to see recanonized? Your 3 minutes starts now.
All right. So when I saw this question coming, I stopped and I thought about, what would people want to see? But this isn't about what people want. It's about what you deserve. This isn't the hero you need. This is the hero that you need right now. So, first I thought Alpha Class Starwing. You know what? Yeah, it's cool. Nah. Everybody's too hyped about that. And you know what? They're practically sold out. They can't be that great. They didn't even make more of them. Then I went TIE Phantom. And I was like, all right, think about Rogue Squadron. Think about all the cool books that they have there. I played around with it. Nah, I threw that one to the side too. I even toyed with the G1A because that thing is hilarious looking, and I just wanted to see it out there again. Finally, I settled on the best choice, the IG-2000 Aggressor. And you know how many of them we need? We need 4 of them. We need 1 for IG-80A, 1 for B, 1 for C, and 1 for D. Bring it back. Tell me the story of the IG-88. Tell me why there were 4 of them again. The legend story on the IG-88s was amazing. And the only thing that could make it even better is to bring it back around and talk to us about the IG-88s. The reason I'm so excited about the IG-2000 is I really want us to finally see some sort of canon source for why they've got those silly little praying mantis pincers in the front. The beautiful, beautiful praying mantis pincers. Because then they can fly up to ships, they can grab them, they put them up to their engines, and then they torch them. I want to see that. Don't just tell me about it in a book. Give it to me. Give me a visual of how cool that would be to kill a ship by blasting it with your very own engines. Finally, I really just want to see an IG-88 aggressor, the IG-2000 aggressor, in a space battle with Boba Fett. We've got the Book of Fett coming up. Spoiler alerts, sorry. But if you haven't been watching it, do you really care about Star Wars? Let's see Boba Fett go toe-to-toe with the IG-2000. He's got his backup now. He's got his fire spray back. Let's see him fighting with an IG-2000. And let's see who really is the best bounty hunter. And furthermore, what is the best bounty hunter ship? Thanks.
Right.
I know I have 20 seconds left. Keep them.
Fair enough. All right, poll is up. We'll get to our rebuttals in a second. So I think we have 2 arguments here. We got a K-Wing, which could save the sequel trilogy. And then we have the IG-2000 Aggressor, which could bring back basically a beloved bounty hunter not trio, but quadro. I don't know what you call 4. I don't know what the word is there. 4 of them.
Quadret.
Quartet.
Whoa, quartet.
A barbershop quartet.
Listen, an IG barbershop quartet is probably something that I want to see in my life. Reality Lemon says the IG-2000 is ugly. Reality Lemon is allowed to be wrong. That's fine. Will, your 1-minute rebuttal to the IG-2000 time starts now.
First off, it's already being recanonized. Play a little game called Outer Rim, and it is one of the best ships in there, besides obviously the Fire Spray and the Millennium Falcon, because that's just how Star Wars is. My second point is space arms? Space arms. I don't know if I'm catching this on camera. Space arms. This is most of my rebuttal, is these space arms. Also, it looks less of like a ship and more like some sort of space creature. And I think it reminds me of less of Star Wars and more of something that the Borg or whatever those cyclones from Battlestar Galactica are. I don't know.
Cyclones?
I don't watch that dumb stuff. Yeah, like the Arizona football team or whatever. I don't know. I don't watch those things, okay? I watch Star Wars, where they have cool ships, and IG's not one of them.
First off, in Battlestar Galactica, they're Cylons. The Arizona football team are the Cardinals. What?
What? Who's the Cyclones,
They're
then?
no Cyclones.
I'm pretty sure there's a football team with a tornado on it.
Not in the pros. Oh, Maui's saying the Iowa State Cyclones?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that makes sense of why I would see them, because I live in Iowa.
All right. Ryan, your rebuttal to the K-Wing.
All right, I'm going to apologize. I unplugged my headset because I had to get visuals for this.
Sure, that'll come through well.
Yeah, I'm hearing echo on my end, so I apologize. However, I had to get this. Do you guys see this thing? Look at it. Just look at it. Does anyone want this creature returning to the canon? I'm confused. Is it a Star Wars ship or is it an A-10 Warthog? Like, what is this supposed to be? What is this little ball turret down here? Are you kidding me? This thing is the silliest looking ship in the planet. Well, in the galaxy, I guess, not the planet. So, I don't understand why anyone would want to bring this back. And, you know what? Star Fortress, way overdue for awesomeness. It is one of the most amazing ships, and I can't believe that you put it down comparing it to this silly little non-X-Wing ship. At least we had cool...
All right. Well, man. Listen, I think the K-Wing and the Aggressor both look great. I love both of their looks. And the poll has it 2-1 in favor of Will right now. 10 votes to 5. And this is tough for me. I think Will's point about the Star Wars Outer Rim is a canon board game centered around the Outer Rim territories. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, have you played Outer Rim? You get to choose. You can choose IG-88, and you get to even choose a ship that you want to fly, which is his IG-2000 Aggressor.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm gonna have to take his word for it. I don't think he'd lie to me about this. And if you would, shame on you, Will, just for $10 million. How dare you? I'm giving this one to the K-Wing. Bring it back. Save Paige Tycho. She could have been awesome. That's going to make it 2-1. We'll pay out the left and reopen bets for our next round. Our next question is, will the Luke Gunner ever be viable? Update that. There's like no good way to do this. I just have to export this every time. Will Luke Gunner ever be viable is the next question. Right now, Will has a slim lead, 2-1. Ryan, why do you hate the K-Wing? Also, do not disrespect the A-10 Warthog.
You want to know the real irony of that?
Is that you had a K-Wing on hand?
I absolutely love the K-Wing. It is one of my favorite ships, but I don't know where it places in the canon. I don't see a good spot for it in the canon. And I'm a little salty because there's just ragged on the Resistance bomber.
I love the Resistance. I know the audience. I know they hate The Last Jedi. I'm just playing it up. But I do think though that there's the not Kathleen Kennedy, the Patty Jenkins Top Gun Star Wars movie.
Rogue Squadron, baby. Can't wait.
Yeah, that's set in the New Republic timeline, post whatever the last movie was. Rise of Skywalker, right? So, there could be a K-Wing in that. You don't know.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that one introduces a bunch of new ships, to be honest. Or maybe not new ships, but old new, like new, canon new stuff. That will be really, really fun.
There's just an E-Wing. The movie just starts with an E-Wing just crashing, and it's like, well, you should probably never make that ship ever again.
Yeah, it's an E-Wing crashing, and they're like, oh, that was our last one. It cuts to X-Wings. All right, your next question. Who started that last one? That would be. I started with Will, so it's on Rocker now. Rocker, will the Luke Gunner ever be viable in X-Wing? You have 3 minutes. It starts now.
Okay, I'm confused by this question. And I'm going to be honest as to why I'm confused by this question. Is Luke Gunner not already...
I literally gave you time to ask questions, but all right, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I know. It's part of my discussion.
All right.
Come on. Is Luke Gunner not already viable? Luke Gunner. All right, let's look at him. He is expensive. Let's check our sources. Let's see. How expensive is Luke Gunner? Sorry, Yasby has to be blocked by all my screens. So Luke Gunner is sitting at 26 points. 26 points. Sounds like a lot. Oh my god, 26 points? Well, we've got Howl Runner at 46 according to Will, so obviously 26 points isn't that many points. So Luke Gunner gives you a force charge. Alright, cool. Now let's imagine that's all you ever need. You have Fifth Brother. Fifth Brother, 12, 13 points, somewhere in that ball game. I don't feel like fighting with Yasby right now. So he's twice the price. But Luke Gunner gives you a get-out-of-jail-free card. The best get-out-of-jail-free card. Oh, look, my turret's facing the wrong way, and I need to take a shot. Let me flip my force to do that. Who wouldn't love something that lets them play first edition in second edition? Let me tell you something. A lot of people wouldn't love that because it's dirty. It's viable. It's so good. So, of course Luke Gunner is viable because Luke Gunner lets you take a turreted ship and have an actual turret. Whenever you want. Start of engagement phase, boom, I can shoot. Are you stressed? Who gives a crap? Are you facing the wrong way? No, you're not. You're facing the way you want to face because your turret can turn to adjust. On this point, I want to tell you a story. It's a tale of woe. The tale is, I was flying some MG-100 Star Fortresses. That's right, Will. The Star Fortress. And I got jammed up in the corner of the board. I got blocked by a YT-1300. The biggest issue with this is that I couldn't move. My 3-bank wouldn't fit. Guess what? Neither would his 3-bank. We were stuck there forever, in an endless embrace until death. The one thing that would have saved me would have been a Luke Gunner, because I could have rotated that turret and I could have shot the annoying little gnat that was jumping around behind me. Unfortunately, not an option for resistance. But let me tell you that if it had been, it would have been stapled to my Star Fortress card, because the best thing about X-Wing is being able to make sure that you always have a shot. Luke Gunner is 26 points of guaranteed shooting.
All right. Will, your 3 minutes begins now.
Now, I think the real question is, you did change it. Will Luke Gunner ever be viable? And obviously the answer is no. It should, not only is it not viable, it should not be viable. This is training wheels for your baby tricycle, okay? Here's some mods for you because you couldn't figure out how to fly straight and take an action, okay? This is, did someone arc dodge you? Let's just stop the game for a second and we'll let you move your turret, I guess. This is not an upgrade card for the seasoned X-Wing player. This is not an upgrade card for the competitive X-Wing player. We need to rise our baseline status of players to be above Luke Skywalker's Gunner card. Cast away this need to just get free things if you just throw enough points at it. It is and has always been a crutch for newer players who don't understand how turrets even work. You're supposed to be put onto thematic lists where you have Chewie and Han and Leia or whatever, and there's running from the TIE fighters. Oh, gotta get away from the Death Star. Oh, no, that's only for thematic play, training wheels for newer players. But if you want to ever put that Luke Skywalker Gunner on the table, you better be memeing me, because it's not a serious card for a serious game of X-Wing. I'm hoping that we can all go forth and reevaluate all the cards that will just give us free things, free calculates every round, free rotate actions at the beginning of combat, and cast away those easy handholds, and we go forth to a new beyond of flying between the asteroids, not over top of them, and getting our arcs on targets without any young farm boy to tell us that he got one. I relinquish my time.
Okay. There it is. Let me start the poll. Really wish I could save a poll. But nah. Which wouldn't let you do that. All right. Interesting points. Both Ryan saying it's already viable. Will saying it should never be viable. Ryan, your rebuttal to it should never be viable. Your minute starts now. Please say something. Don't make us look at that for a minute.
All right. So let's start with this. Will is gatekeeping us. Will is saying, if you're not good enough at X-Wing, you don't deserve to play X-Wing. You got to take your Luke Gunners and you got to throw them in the trash? Are you kidding me? I want to play X-Wing. I'm sorry that I'm not an ace player, that I'm not number one in the game. I need Luke Gunner. I need him to be my crutch. Secondly, and I probably should have led with this, the question wasn't, should Luke Gunner ever be viable? The question was, will Luke Gunner ever be viable? So should he? Maybe not. Maybe in a competitive X-Wing world, Luke Gunner should stay in your card binder. But will Luke Gunner ever be viable? The answer is yes. And finally, Will, you got 2 points. Great, kid. Don't get cocky.
All right. Will, your response to Luke Gunner being viable already. Your time starts now.
Well, of course he's viable if you can't get arcs on target. Of course he's viable if you can't find a way to modify your dice. Of course he's viable if you just want to load up your ship with the fattest point count there was to run to time before it is called and win on points. Now, these are not tactics that I think are honorable, and I think that because of those, we need to leave that farm boy behind and not include him anymore, and in fact, shun him to never be viable.
Right? So there we have it. There is the debate. Still got a little bit of time left. So I see. Gosh, I mean, listen. I told you all before this started that this is not like a serious thing. We aren't solving any problems, and that I do things for humor. But honestly, I think you both made some really good points here. This is just going to be a hard one to decide. I'm interested to see where the voting lies. And it looks like right now it is a landslide by 3-1 in favor of MrRockerCrocker.
I appreciate Will telling me that Luke Gunner is viable.
Don't twist my already twisted words. Okay, they've been twisted enough.
Your twisted,
And
convoluted twistedness that's twistedly twisted.
Just in case anyone was thinking about taking this seriously, I did ask them to prepare 2 answers so that we didn't have people just arguing the same thing all night. This is not, don't be blaming anyone, but I think MrRockerCrocker is right. At 26 points, it's definitely not free. That is a whole Z95 with sprockets. Like, and hey, you know, maybe we need more cards for people who aren't great at X-Wing to be able to compete with those that are, at least on a friendly level. I don't think we're going to see it in a tournament anytime soon.
Yep.
But
yeah, we did. It's called Zam Crew.
well, you know,
Ooh,
maybe
shots fired.
next debate. I'll give that one to RockerCrocker. Going to open betting for our 5th topic. And our 5th topic is going to be, what is the most overvalued chassis? So this is the chassis that maybe people like so much, but isn't actually that great. It's what we're going for here. Betting is open. Get your bets in now. So, Will, let me ask you. You don't like free. You don't like cards that give you free stuff, like something for nothing, like targeting.
Just the cards that give you a calculate for free every round.
So, like, what about targeting assists
So
on the
force?
heavy?
You got it. I'm sorry. What?
What
now?
what about targeting assists on the heavy? Targeting assist configuration.
What does it give you for free?
If
2
you
calculate.
can get up to 2 calculates.
If you don't have a green token.
If you don't have a green token.
Oh, that's conditional though. It's conditional. You have to not have a green token.
Zam's conditional. You have to get shot at.
I mean, that's true.
Next debate.
Magma's conditional. You have to take a damage.
Luke's conditional. You have to remember it's there.
You have to
you have to have a
26
turret.
points. You have to have 26 points.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a turret. You can fly Luke on Hera B-Wing.
I mean, you could fly you just for the force. I don't know why you wouldn't take Kaden but all right.
If somebody flies Luke on Hera B-Wing, I will shake your hand in the post-COVID times, or I'll give you an air high five otherwise.
All right, I'm going to close betting. So we're even, so that means we're back to Will. Will, your 3 minutes. What is the most overvalued chassis? That starts now.
My most overvalued chassis is from a time long ago and from the Phantom Menace. It is the Naboo Starfighter. That's right. The full throttle ship itself. Now, I know it can get free evades, but that makes it extremely predictable. The easiest ship to block. You know it's going 3 bank, 3 forward, or the hard 3. The other problem, or not problem, that I have with it, but a detriment to the ship is its 2 attack dice primary. Now, it does have the torpedo slots, but with no reload action, you're getting a maximum of 2 souped up shots per game. Now, the full throttle, super good, except for all the times that you need to keep shooting the same target. It needs to do one of its 180 degree moves, which it only has 3 Talon rolls, which aren't going to give you your free evade, and it's going to leave you being open to being shot. Now, the Defender has full throttle, can get some free evades, which is pretty good because the Defender has 3 agility. The Naboo Starfighter has only got 2 agilities. Evade tokens in 2nd edition do not add results. They simply modify the dice you rolled, which prevents the Naboo Starfighter from ever dodging the 3rd hit, making, in my opinion, the evade not as good as any ship that has 3 agility. Now, it is fairly cheap because it's only a 2 dice attack ship, which means, though, that to ever get it to viability, you're going to have to invest points into it, and at that point, it becomes not a cheap ship. Once Baby Annie's got advanced proton torpedo, collision detector, stealth device, or whatever they can, or some healing astromech, R2 astromech crutch on them as well. Because guess what? They take damage. That free evade doesn't help them stay clean. They're always trying to get back those couple shields, because every time they do a 3-speed maneuver, they're going to land too close to an enemy and just get lit up. And like I said, without like advanced sensors, even if they do have good time on target, their shots are going to be unmodified 2 dice attacks, plinking away. Now, sure, Rick has got his special abilities, but that's not the chassis, though.
All right.
And any chassis would be better.
That's time. Ryan, what is the most overvalued chassis? I realize I went out of order here, but we'll just switch it around. You're good.
You're good.
All right, go.
All right. So, just like with all of my questions, I thought about this one long and hard. I thought, you know what? B-Wings. Everybody's all about the double tap, all about this, all about that. You know what? Meh, B-Wings. Fang Fighters. You know what? They're pretty good. They can pull things off. But Will said something earlier, and it really struck a chord with me, and it made me realize what the real overrated chassis is. The Hawk 290. Everybody's pointing at the Hawk 290, and they're going, look at this ship. Look at how great this ship is. Oh, it's got turret. It can do locks. It can rotate. Oh my goodness, what a great ship. Oh, it can bomb. Oh, it gets crew. Look at all the things it can do. You know what a Hawk needs? A Hawk needs friends. Fly a Hawk by itself, what's it gonna do? Nada. You're talking about a ship with 3 hull, 2 shields. Guess what? Weren't we just talking about the Naboo N1 and saying 3 hull, 2 shields, no good? Well, there we go. We got 3 hull, 2 shields. We were talking about how it's got only 2 agility. Wait a minute. Only 2 agility. But at least the N1 gets the evade. It's got something going for it. You know how you get an evade on a Hawk? You either got to steal it with payload, ship ability, or pilot ability, or you got to throw on Jyn Erso. So now I got to add more to my ship to make it evadable. And now, let's look at the actual guns. 2 attack dice. 2 attack dice. What's the meta right now? The meta is all about the good old 2 dice, 3 agility swarms. Now those 2 dice, 3 agility swarms, 2 reds, 3 green swarms, are relying on some upgraded weaponry to help them out. But guess what? The Hawk ain't getting out of that weaponry. It's about to get its face caved in by all of that weaponry going up to 3 dice. So a Hawk, probably not going to do so well against the current meta. Oh, look, I have payload if we really want to get into the pilots. I'm going to steal a focus. Great, you stole 1 focus from 6 ships. That's really going to help you out. Oh, I stole an evade? Well, that'll stop 1 damage. You're going to take a lot more than that. So the Hawk 290. Yeah, it's a fun little ship. But guess what? The only way to make it good is to slap that Moldy Crow title on it. You know what the Moldy Crow title is not? The ship chassis. It's a title. It's an upgrade. It's not native to that ship. So guess what? The only thing that makes Hawks better are things that you're adding to the Hawks. I'm done.
All right. Let me start that poll. The more I have to do the polls, the shorter the question just becomes. It used to be, who won this debate? And now it's just who won. All right, poll is open. Will?
I think the
Go ahead.
next debate, epic rap battles of X-Wing.
They-
Who won?
Who's next? You decide. I have met Lloyd several times, Epic Lloyd, and he is a nice guy. Will, your response to the Hawk being the most overvalued chassis starts now.
I had to walk away from even the thought that someone is overvaluing the Hawk. I had to struggle just to lift the Hawk up onto a podium so others could see it in its glory. And you come at me, naysaying everything about it. If only it could have good time on target, an amazing action bar, every slot, every ship ever wished it could have, and some of the best pilots in the game. I just cannot. I might not actually have a rebuttal. I'm stunned. I think my whole rebuttal, you could just go listen to me rant about the Hawk for 3 minutes earlier.
All right. Ryan, your rebuttal to the N1 being the most overvalued chassis.
All right. So Will was saying 3 hull, 2 agility, 2 shields, not very healthy. These things are going to get knocked down. Well, guess what? Why is your N1 in a firing arc? This ship is not designed to be a jouster. It's not meant to go toe-to-toe with the enemy. It should be coming in on the flanks. It should be dodging. It should be agile. Why is it getting itself into the middle of the fight? It needs to be sitting on the flanks. So maybe the issue with the N1 isn't the ship. Maybe it's the person flying it. Finally, thinking about the N1. Pilots. Now, I know pilots aren't chassis, but these pilots lift it up. They make it better. You take a good ship, you make it better. You've got the Naboo handmaidens, which are helping each other. You've got Padme, who everybody hates. You've got Anakin. Look at those fancy barrels. You've got Rick, 3 agility. The N1 can pull its weight if you know what you're doing.
All right. Whew. That was spirited.
Natalie Portman, overrated.
Natalie Portman is amazing.
All right. Let's not go there. Don't talk about my Natalie. Keep my Natalie out of your mouth.
Oh, I was just testing the waters. Do the chat like Natalie or not? If they do, I'll take back everything. If you don't, let's slam her even harder.
Here's the thing. I think that I can't give the point for the best chassis in the game to the Hawk and then also say it's the most overvalued chassis. I think that's probably not great for any kind of credibility. But also, I'm not 100% sure what your argument was, Ryan. Yeah, I gotta give this one. The chat was okay. Someone slipped in a vote. It was only 7-6 for Will, so you obviously made some headway there. But for me, I'm not convinced. I think Will has a better point with the N1s, and that means a point goes to Will. I'm going to open betting for the next round as I export the question. As some of you probably know, it's the opposite. What is the most undervalued chassis in X-Wing? Betting's open.
I had to make sure.
Go ahead.
I had to make sure we didn't have another Hawk question in here because I love the Hawk and I've already said that once.
The last question is, why is the Hawk the best ship in X-Wing?
For sure.
Dibs, I call first. That way Will has to argue against his own beloved Hawks.
Zimitique, I prepared 10 questions. Prepared 10 little old questions. I'm going to take this time while you guys are betting to say, hey, if you haven't followed, why not go ahead and give a follow? That'd be good. Also, we're running a tournament, the Tri-City Tournament, this Saturday. ! Tri-City in the chat if you'd like to sign up for that. A lot of cool prizes happening. And with that being said, let's get on to our next topic here. And that is, what is the most undervalued chassis? And we're going to start with Ryan. Your 3 minutes start now.
All right, so let me talk to you about the Hawk 290. And what? Oh, sorry. All right, seriously, the G1A. The G1A Starfighter. Let's look at this bad boy. So, people were saying earlier, I mentioned the B-Wing. I saw people hyped up about the B-Wing. You know what makes a B-Wing better? More health. You know what has more health than a B-Wing? A G1A. Granted, 1 more health, but still more health. It's got a slightly better dial. Now, I admit that the B-Wing has a pretty decent dial. But you know what a B-Wing can't do? Jump over a large base ship. G1A, it's got that 4K. It's clearing that large base ship. It's getting out of there. So, the G1A, 1 more hull, better dial than the B-Wing. Let's keep going with this. The action bar on the G1A. You know the most fun action in the game? If you don't, I'm going to tell you, it's the jam action. Because only you could be so bold as to give somebody the raspberry. So, fly the G1A, give them the raspberry. Finally, let's look at the upgrade slots. So, first thing, the title. People are going to be like, oh, look, the title. Oh, you got to include it. Of course you got to include it. So, the title elevates the G1A to a higher level. I know that we've talked about titles who said, oh, you can't count the title. But in this case, I feel like the title is the chassis. It's gotta be part of that. So, you add the title, you get the cannon. Guess what? You don't need the cannon. It's just there for fun. So, you know what? Things that are more fun, jam action, jam and beams. They're free. Jam away. Everybody loves a good jam. So, finally, the only real issue with the G1A, the reason we don't see the G1A being more competitive than it is now, has nothing to do with the chassis. If that were the issue, we wouldn't see B-Wings being competitive. B-Wings are all over the place. The reason that the G1A is so undervalued is because it doesn't have great pilots. So stop dumping on the G1A. Stop going, why do I want to see a G1A on the table? And start going, why don't they have better pilots? Forlom, yeah, he's amazing. He's so much fun. I love the Forlom. But he can't carry the G1A all by himself. Zuckuss, really cool. But guess what? The issue with Zuckuss is that if you're only taking one attack with him, he's not so great. Granted, you got the crew slot. Throw your good old Zam on there. It'll be great. But how are you getting that Zam on there? Because you have a crew slot. So Zuckuss, Forlom, both pretty good, but better pilots, better ship for the already better chassis.
All right, Ryan, coming in hot with the G1A. Will, what is the most undervalued chassis?
To me, the most undervalued chassis has always been dwarfed by its smaller, older cousin, the Vulture, and my underlooked chassis, or undervalued chassis rather, is the Hyena Bomber. And Bomber doesn't even begin to describe the amount of things you can do with this platform. Not only does it have one of the best ship abilities in the game, network calculations, that's Droid Force for everybody not familiar. It also has a linked action that matters, barrel linked into target lock. That's an offensive upgrade, and I love it. The chassis also tailor shapes the upgrade slots for what you're trying to do with it. You want to shoot a bunch of missiles? Bring it back to a prototype. They got 2 missile slots. Can use anybody's missiles. You want to drop some bombs? Here's a bombardment drone. They can drop them a bunch of different ways and have extra bomb slots. You just want to be a cheap support ship? Oh, you grab yourself a tub. The Techno Union Bomber, slap some Dark One probe droids on there. A little chef's kiss for those little adorable remotes who are going to be joining your team. The landing struts. Now, I don't think landing struts are exactly undervalued. I think we all know the how powerful it is to just ignore an obstacle and make it your home for the rest of the game. Set up a nice little house, mine some more there, build a nice Viking house. No problem. Also, did you know Hyenas have both a coordinator and a jammer? What? Because 32C, their coordinating one, doesn't bring any munitions. They replaced its reload action, so nice of them, with a red jam. Wow. You can even use those dark probe droids to jam at long range. Crazy. This is, by far, the amount of customization and utility you can get from the base chassis of just 25 points, 5 hull. This thing should outshine any other ship in its class, and I think put it on the table, and it will.
All right. There it is. Let me start the poll. Again, I'm going to remind both people that the pilots don't matter in the chassis, but I see what you're saying. All right, poll is live. Ryan, you get 1 minute to rebut on the Hyena Bomber being the most undervalued chassis. Your time starts now.
All right. So, I don't know what Will's been watching, for X-Wing. And granted, the bomber isn't all over the place, but we're still seeing it pretty handedly. We've seen it be competitive. We've seen it deliver. We have seen Hyena bombers in meta lists. Do I need to remind you guys of a little man, our great hero, one of our favorite members of the Nickel City X-Wing community? I'm not talking about Greg. Good guess, though. I'm talking about Epionic, De Leon, DBS 404. Because, now I'm second guessing myself on this, but I believe he has flown the Hyena bomber with his spam text. I believe he's used DBS 404. Great little ship. The Hyena bomber, 5 hull, 2 agility. Take a droid fighter, add 2 hull, and you know what you end up with? A Hyena bomber. We're seeing them. They're being used. How are they overvalued?
All right, time. Will, your response to the G1A being the most undervalued chassis?
Undervalued. Well, I think the value is actually pretty proportional to the dial you get in the G1A. Let's go ahead and take a look at. I'm going to read you off. I'm going to use my entire minute just to read off all of the red maneuvers on the G1A. We have 4 forward, 3 bank, 4K, 2K, hard 1, and stop. That's so many maneuvers. There's almost as many red maneuvers than other maneuvers on that dial. I'm not a mathematician, but I think we can all agree that I named off a lot of red maneuvers. And that's bad. I think we can all agree bad. Unless you're Advanced Sensors Forlom, which is not undervalued. I think we're all valuing that one appropriately. Red maneuvers are bad.
All right.
And more of them is not good.
I'm not 100% certain we didn't lose the thread of the argument, but you know what? I have some thoughts here. And the thoughts I have are, Ryan, you said the title is the chassis. And to me, that means that the chassis is not great. And you can't be undervalued if it's bad. That said, I really liked Will's point about it, how diverse the chassis, even referred to it as a platform, the Hyena is. And I think that's what won me over against the chat here. And I am giving this one to Handsome Will.
Will lies, and he's used the Hyena bomber. Undervalued? You've used it! Sorry.
What? That just means
Yeah.
you believe
I
that how
value it.
undervalued it. Yeah.
I value it higher than others.
I don't understand. I don't understand that.
Can't be undervalued if it's making cuts.
All right, bet is open for the next question. This next question is all about dice. I framed it as what percentage of a game comes down to dice. I'm going to simplify it into how much do dice matter? How much do dice matter as I export this? Should change in a second. How much do dice matter? Your betting is open right now. You don't have to bet, Lou. It's just there if you want to. No one's required to bet. Betting is open. Ryan, when's the last time you flew the G1A?
But very sporadically at best.
All right, but if it's so undervalued, why don't you take it? You get that low point for the high value.
Well, you got to remember that I fly everything. I'm all over the place when it comes to factions. I would like to point out, however, that I did fly a little friend called Forlom on your stream, and I won.
Listen, you guys remember what you flew and stuff? I cannot remember for the life of me any of the games, and I usually watch them twice, once live and in the edit, and I can't remember anything. I'm terrible.
So
I'm literally the worst streamer.
So I'll admit, I haven't touched the G1A in a while, but I really haven't touched Scum in a while. So that's why I haven't played it. However, like I said, Forlom, he carried. He's the man. Slap a little angled deflectors on them. Do that 2K. stress your opponents, and then just stay behind them and mess with their heads.
Fair enough. All right. How much do dice matter? We're even, so I believe that means we're back to Will starting us off. Will, how much do dice matter? Your 3 minutes starts now.
Dice matter. If I would have to quantify it in a percentage, I would say roughly 20%. Now, I don't know what the other 80% is, but let's work through it together. I'm going to say at least another 40% is your dial choices, and maybe another 40 might be your action choices. But let's focus in on the small percentage that dice actually matter in this game. Wayne Gretzky, a beloved hockey player that we all know, his career, has said, "You miss every shot you don't take." And Michael Scott quoted it. But I'm going to quote it here today. That how much the dice mean is very little, because if you're not rolling attack dice, you ain't going to win the game. And how are you going to roll attack dice? That's positioning. If you can't get your arcs on target, you ain't never going to roll any dice. If you can just arc dodge, well, I guess you won't be needing those green dice after all. So you could, in theory, win an entire game of X-Wing without rolling any green dice. In fact, with bombs and a couple other tricks, I think you could realistically win a game of X-Wing without rolling any dice. Now, will your opponent have to roll some dice? Maybe. And maybe that 20% will come into factor onto them. But in my opinion, you could win a game by having below average dice simply by just rolling more offensive dice than your opponent and rolling less defense dice than your opponent. Another way that dice don't matter, persistent modifiers like the Concordia face-off, automatic dice conversion, the reinforce action. Let's just prevent our zero agility ship from just taking damage, and we're just going to add automatic results. With ships getting just free calculates here and there, I think dice matter increasingly less or decreasingly more, however you want to say that. I'm thinking less and less all the time. Now, is rolling dice exciting? Certainly. Would X-Wing be a game without dice? No. But is it what will make or break your win? No. I think you're going to win the game without dice, and you're going to lose the game without dice as well.
Ryan, how much do dice matter? Your 3 minutes starts now.
All right. So when Will said 20%, some of you might have noticed a little snap of my fingers of frustration. The reason for that is because I know where Will got his 20% from. Will didn't come up with that on his own. Will didn't go, let me sit down and calculate this out and get a number. Will came up with that by saying, what is X-Wing? Well, I think it's 10% skill, 20% luck, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember that dice count for 80% of the game. Dice are so important to X-Wing. Will couldn't even hold together a 3-minute argument about why dice don't matter. His end statements were literally, how do I get around dice? Well, let me tell you how to get around dice. You use Concordia face-off. Hey, wait a minute. Isn't that just dice mitigation? If dice don't matter, why do I gotta mitigate them? He talked about using dice mods. Well, if dice don't matter, why do I need dice mods? They shouldn't affect the game. I should just be winning because I flew better. If it was all about flying better, then nobody would be able to start into X-Wing. We'd all be stuck bowing down to the people that are already at the top. Because when you get to the highest level of skill, who's going to beat you? The only person that's going to beat you is the person who actually can get a little bit of dice luck on their side. Chess grandmasters, they last for decades as grandmasters. Why do they last for decades? Because in chess, dice don't matter. But in X-Wing, guess what? Dice matter. That's why I argue dice count for 80% of the game. Because guess what? You know what? There is a little 20% there that does rely on some skill. Otherwise, some schlub like me would be able to get ahead of everybody else. I could just roll dice and win. Well, I can't do that. Because guess what? I actually have to have a little bit of skill. 20% skill. Actually, we go back to Will's song, where he got his 20% luck from. Apparently, I only need 10% skill. So I'm even overvaluing skill a little bit here. So, when it's all said and done, of course dice matter. Finally, I'd like to point to one little thing that we've all done when we've watched Nickel City X-Wing. Look into the chat in just a second here, and you will see this quote, "Well, it's a dice game. Variants always get me, and I'm just going to try this." Guess what? The reason that's in there is because dice matter. I say 80% of the time because, again, you might get some skill involved in there, but for the most part, it's all about the luck score.
All right, let's start that poll.
Will, just remember that I love you.
The compelling argument bringing up the exclamation point Sri Lanka. Will, your response that dice are 80% of the game. Your 1 minute starts now.
Well, luckily, I've saved my rebuttal for the appropriate time and don't have to base my entire argument off of the opposite of what my other debater said. But I just want to leave you on this. It can't be 80% dice luck, because we all know it's 50%, 15% the concentrated power of will. And man, you cannot will those dice to your advantage. You can will your opponent into submission by outflying them, though.
Okay. Riot. Your response, or your rebuttal rather, to the fact that dice are only 20% of the game. Your minute
I'm confused.
Starts now.
I'm confused. Is Will saying that he bullies other players who have no faith in their dice into getting out of the game? He goes, dice don't matter. I'm so good. Who cares about them? Look at this. This is classic gatekeeping from one of the top players in X-Wing. We can't all be Will Haigwood. I'd love to be Will Haigwood. Look at the man. He's handsome Will. He is consistently a top competitor. But guess what? I can't rely on skill. What I can rely on is a little bit of lucky dice rolls here and there. So of course dice matter, because without dice, I don't have a fighting chance. And let's look at the meta right now. If dice don't matter, then what? Wow, a little Maynard snuck in there. If dice don't matter, then why are 3 agility swarms tearing up the meta? I'll tell you why. Because dice do matter. 3 agility swarms, I keep throwing evades all day, baby. I'm never gonna die. Ow!
Time. All right. Well, by a score of 8-1, the chat agrees with MrRockerCrocker now. And you know what? I think I do too.
For simply calling out my the Remember the Name song. You got me on that one. I'll have to concede my point.
All right, well, I already got my point. Right here in my notes, I had 20%, and I wrote the song above it because I was like 20%. Right there, it's in the song. You gotta
that's not actually how the song goes. Let's sing it together. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% a reason to remember the name.
Oh yeah.
So you can't even get your base argument right.
Too late. Already won.
All right, we're gonna do one more topic tonight, and we'll go to a tiebreaker if we need to. We're gonna skip ahead a little bit. Well, we're skipping over the toast question because I didn't think that people would actually care about this as much as they seem to be into it. So, oopsies. This question is: what if you could make one change to competitive play to make it better? What would that change be? Betting is open, so let's just go ahead and let people get some bets in if they want to right now. And no one is forced to bet. It's a 50-50 if you want to take your shot. Man. Hey, Will, have you ever won a game without rolling dice?
No, but I think I could.
That is
With like
I think we've had that debate in the Discord before, and we've like theorized a game without a game where like you're not allowed to roll dice.
I hit your Soontier with 3 counter nets, and then you can't do any damage to me for whatever reason because you only brought 2 aces.
Sure.
Yeah, Reality Lemon's got it. Emon could do it. And we're really skipping all the questions, and I do all this research about Buffalo, New York for absolutely no reason.
That's going to be the tiebreaker. That one, the number 10 is going to be the tiebreaker. If Ryan, I realized I should do an odd number of questions so that we don't end in a tie.
All right, fair enough.
All right, so what one change would you make to competitive play to make it better? And I believe we are now starting with Ryan. Your 3 minutes starts now.
All right. So once again, I always got to remind you, I think long and hard about these things. And like Will said, we did research. We didn't come unprepared. We knew what we were doing. Apparently we don't know our song lyrics, though. So, first thing I thought about was the bid. People hate bidding. There's things all over Reddit about the bid and how it needs to go away. Then we talked about how to push engagement. Why are people running away? How do we get people to actually fight? You know what? I see both of those issues. They're not the big enough issue. The big enough issue that we really need to look at is how do we make it so that people at the bottom can actually compete in X-Wing? And guess what? People have started to make the change, but not at the official level. I'm talking about the good old Flight Club Championships. Thank you, Dion. Thank you for allowing a schlub like me to compete with other schlubs like me by allowing me to play, lose, and still get to go to a tournament with people who are as bad as I am. So now, let's think about this. In sports, we don't immediately just go to the top. It's not everybody's a professional athlete. In chess, you're not a grandmaster after one day. It takes years of practice. And if you're constantly practicing against people that are better than you, it's an easy way to get discouraged and leave the game. How many kitchen table X-Wingers show up to their first tournament, get stomped on, get discouraged, and leave? So, the way that we help competitive X-Wing is we have different levels of competition. And the way that we have different levels of competition is exactly what GSP is doing. So how do we fix competitive X-Wing? We do what's being done by GSP, but we apply it to every tournament. We allow every single player to have this chance to play people on equal footing. I know that I always feel bad when I go to a tournament and I'm playing a new player and I beat up on them. It doesn't feel right to me. Now, granted, it's a learning experience, and I know that's what Will's going to come at me with. Well, you can't get better by playing schlubs. Well, you know what? I'm not going to want to keep playing the game if I keep getting beat up by schlubs as well. So, we allow people to play X-Wingers who are on their level. We do these tournaments. We seed people. And you know what? If you go 3-3 in a tournament, when we go to the higher level tournaments, you're going to get playing against 3-3 people. If you go X-0 because you're an amazing player, you'll be people that are X-0. So let's rebalance X-Wing to allow new players to play new players, bad players to play bad players, and keep the aces in the ace level tournaments.
All right. Wrong words there from MrRockerCrocker. Will, what one change would you make to competitive play to make it a little better? Your 3 minutes starts now.
My change to competitive game is going to shake up the meta in an extreme way. We're going to buck all the trends of this edition and last and forgo our deathmatch overlords. And I'm going to introduce a way to win the game by not killing your enemy's ships. You're going to win the game by completing and scoring competitive objectives. Now, could these be narrative events like shoot a missile or proton torpedo into a specific Death Star trench run? Maybe. That sounds like fun to me. And it also sounds like an interesting objective that you're going to have to protect and defend against an oncoming fleet. Right now, in X-Wing, the meta is defined by how much damage you can mitigate and how much damage you can accumulate onto the enemy's ships each round. And this style of objective, your aces can dance all game, but if they ain't scoring objectives, then they're losing the game. Now, this is going to allow interesting and creative new teams, archetypes we haven't seen before, that could be tailored for specific objectives, making sure that they can win the objective. Could they win in a joust? Maybe not. Could they outfly some aces? Most likely. They won't be able to do that. But will they go and be able to compete for these tailor-made objectives? Yes. Being able to come in and drop a bunch of bombs from your Y-Wings onto the capital ship of the Star Destroyer in an imaginary zone on the board is just what X-Wing is supposed to be imitating in the movies. These daring maneuvers to get the Death Star plans from one place to another, to outrun the enemy before outrun the enemy before your coaxium explodes unknowingly. These are the moments in Star Wars X-Wing movies that we're just not getting in a simple death match. I think with that shakeup, we're going to get, like I said, new lists, new ways to play, new interesting environments and locations we just aren't even imagining right now.
Right. So Ryan's tiers versus Will's objectives. Poll is going to open, and I am giving Ryan a minute to rebut against having objectives be in X-Wing. Ryan, your time starts now.
All right. So you know what, Will? I love your idea. I love the idea of adding objectives to X-Wing. But you know what I don't love? Competitive X-Wing around objectives. The reason for that is objectives are not what X-Wing was built around. X-Wing was built around the 200-point 6-obstacle death matches. Now, granted, I'd love to branch out from that, but at a competitive level, all you're proving is that somebody can shift the way that they build their list to do better at the objectives. All you've done is you've shifted the meta to a new thing to adapt to. You haven't changed X-Wing, you haven't made it more equitable for all the players. So I love the idea. I'm not sure how it works at a competitive X-Wing level. To give you another example of this, I'm going to point to Greg. Greg loves Squadrons. Greg absolutely loves Squadrons. Every time I watch Greg play Squadrons, he goes for the dogfight. Why does he go for the dogfight? Because he likes killing things. He doesn't like playing the objectives. He's not a fleet battle guy. He's a dogfight guy. We're all dogfight guys.
0-2 in dogfights, that's fine. Sure. Will, your 1 minute rebut against tiered X-Wing tournaments.
I think this kind of tiered structure is just the elitist player gatekeeping out the casual game nighters. What I like in X-Wing is to see a child, a boy, not yet a man, rise through the ranks of a tournament. He gets to the final table, and the man the experienced professional at this game, undervalues this boy in front of him. And that boy comes up and kicks his butt. And that just wouldn't happen with the tiered style. We never have those underdog situations. Everybody would be very compartmentalized into their own little groupings. And I think the next step is the trains to the gas station for these people.
I don't even know what that means.
I think I said.
Yeah, all right.
I think I meant gas chambers, but let's just stay with gas station.
Gas station.
Take the train to the gas station.
All right. Oh man, this is tough. I'm not 100. I have no idea what's going on there. But I think your idea changes X-Wing as a game from casual all the way to competitive, whereas I think Rocker's idea gives it more of each tier gets a competitive edge, and you can have more of a progression, so you can still have upsets where the young kid beats out his casual buddies and earns a spot in a hyperspace trial at a higher tier, and then works his way up. I think I like that idea, and that's why I'm giving MrRockerCrocker the point. Maybe, if it lets me. Yes, it does. There we go. All right, betting is open, Nobby. Nobby, betting is open. We're going to a tiebreaker. Who knew? Who thought this could happen? Oh my, it's weird. It's almost like someone gets a soul say in it and makes sure there's not a route. It's weird. I don't know. All right, where should the next World Championship take place? Where should? While they're betting, I want a quick 1 minute from each of you. Is making toast cooking? Ryan.
The definition of making toast, or the definition of cooking. Cooking is defined as the art, science, and craft of using heat to prepare food for consumption. Guess what? Bread's already consumable. Why do I need to heat it up to consume it? So it's not an art, craft, or science of using heat to prepare food for consumption. The food's already consumable. So no, guess what? I retract earlier statements that I have made through more research, and I say that cooking toast is not cooking.
All right.
It's just heating food up.
Will? You can go either way on this. There's no points in the line. Whatever you feel in your heart.
Oh, crap. I changed my...
I changed my... wait. Let me think of the real stance I'm on this. Yeah, I mean... No, because there's no substance. There's no... I mean, if I just put a pizza in an oven, sure, I heated it up, but I didn't cook it. Like, you can't just warm things up. You gotta have with an appliance. I think there's got to be a special technique or something you have to do. You can't just throw it in an appliance. Like air frying, that's not cooking either.
All right.
So I'm throwing out all the things that are just appliances.
I agree with both of you. It is not cooking. That is insane. It is insane to make toast and say I cooked toast. That is just wrong, and no one should do that. All right, but here it is. I believe we start with Will. 3 minutes. Where should the next World Championship, like in-person World Championship, be played? Your 3 minutes starts now.
Well, you know, we're going to be taking it to the home of Greg yourself. That's right, Buffalo, New York. Not only do they have world-famous sauces, that's right, the buffalo sauce. They have epic sports. And here's something I didn't know. Greg, did you know the Buttes? That's right, an all-woman hockey team. Buffalo is so enamored with sports. They have not one, not two, but 3 different hockey teams. That's amazing. They have the beautiful sights of Niagara Falls, a world wonder of gushing water that's both beautiful and dangerous. They have the location close to our Canadian brethren. If that's not a meeting of North America, I don't know what is. We can reach across the border, shake their hand, and invite them from Toronto over to America, to the great city of Buffalo, New York. It's within driving distance of a major metropolitan area, even though I would consider it a metropolitan area myself. And did you know? I got a bunch of facts about Buffalo. Did you know one of my favorite presidents, Theodore Roosevelt, was actually inaugurated in Buffalo, New York, not at the Capitol. Interesting and good information to know.
Did you know William McKinley was assassinated here?
What? An assassination? Drama? Politics? Excitement? Whimsical plays and jazz musicians? Oh my. Is Buffalo, New York going to be the place to hold the New Worlds? It's hot. It's new. It's spicy. A little play on the buffalo sauce there. And this is going to be the place for all of the Europeans that travel over. Europeans don't want to travel all the way across the Atlantic and then all the way across the United States to get over to Portland or Seattle or wherever that AMG is from. They just want to go over across the ocean, land right where they can. And right where they can is Buffalo, New York.
All right. Ryan, where should the next World Championship be played? Your 3 minutes starts now.
So it sounds to me like Will's entire argument is based off lathering up Greg and getting him to like him by complimenting his city. But guess what? Greg is a world traveler. Greg loves adventure and experience. So if you're going to pander to Greg, you need to make sure that you're thinking about his desire to travel. Now, I thought about some cities. Obviously, I live in Maine. You all know that. I get the little Maine accent sneaking out here and there. You don't want to hear that all the time. Don't do X-Wing Worlds in Maine. I thought about Seattle. But you know what? Seattle's cool. Do I really want to travel to Seattle? Nice train ride, not so long of a plane ride. I'm not a plane guy myself. Minnesota, it's traditional. We've always done the tournaments in Minnesota. But here's what I'm really thinking. This is a surprise for me that I actually settled on this. So, right now, we have the Tri-City Tournament coming up. That's right, 3 cities coming together, Chicago, Indianapolis, and Buffalo, to host the tournament. And of those 3 cities, I think there is one city that might be the clear winner on where we should hold X-Wing Worlds. I am talking about Indianapolis, Indiana. Why Indianapolis, Indiana? You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know a lot about the rich history of Indianapolis. I don't need to know the rich history to know that it's a great place for board gaming. Why is it a great place for board gaming? Because what else is there but Gen Con? Every year. Well, except 2020. But when we go back to play, we want to go to Gen Con. Because Gen Con is amazing. Well, you go to Gen Con, a few months later, you go back. And you play in the same city. You already know the territory. You're not there to be a tourist when you go to when you go to the X-Wing World. You're there to explore a city that you already know. So that's why I think Indianapolis is a great place for it to be. They've got some pretty cool stuff. Gen Con's in walking distance to a lot of the different hotels and local attractions. Their food's not too strange. They have some interesting options, but nothing like Chicago deep dish pizza. Why would I want that? I mean, you can get buffalo wings. Are they real buffalo wings? Probably not, but at least they're an option there. But the number one reason to have it at Gen Con, actually, I'll give you Indianapolis. Look at that. I can't even remember that it's called Indianapolis because Gen Con is where it's at. But the reason to have it in Indianapolis is because, one, Greg and I finally get to do the road trip that we've been talking about. I'll pick him up on the way in Buffalo. And secondly, everybody knows that Mrs. Candace makes the best cookie bars. Where do you get those best cookie bars? In Indianapolis, Indiana.
All right, I'm going to open the poll. It's between Buffalo and Indianapolis. Reality Lemon says World shouldn't be in either city. Hurtful. So hurtful. Will, your 1 minute rebuttal against Indianapolis starts now.
Wow. That's gonna tug at my heartstrings because I do appreciate a good Buttigieg, but I don't think Worlds needs to associate itself with the Midwest. We've been there, we've done that. Let's get out of these lakes. Minnesota, way too many lakes. Indiana, close to lakes, not a fan. Let's get away from these lakes. Let's go somewhere where there's beautiful falls. That's right, the Niagara Falls. Also, Colts. Come on now. Everybody's here is a sportster. We know those Colts. Come on now.
All right. Ryan, your 1 minute rebuttal against Buffalo. Have fun.
Last I checked, Will Sport is X-Wing. So who cares about the Colts? Why are they pushing you out of going to Indianapolis? Indianapolis is a safe area that we are familiar with. We've been to Indianapolis if we've been there for Gen Con. Again, this isn't a tourist trip. We're there to visit. So let's look at Buffalo. Amazing city. I would love to visit Buffalo. Guess what? Been there, done that. Buffalo has so many tourist attractions. I'm not going to check out the sites. I'm going to play X-Wing. X-Wing is serious business. So if I'm going to Buffalo, I want to be able to spend my time enjoying the area that is Buffalo. Greg, your timer looks way too long to me. I have not been only going for 15 seconds. So I am not sold on the idea of it being in Buffalo because when I go to Buffalo, I want to tourist it. I want to check out Niagara Falls. I want to enjoy buffalo wings. You know what buffalo wings are going to do to our stomachs? I don't want to be in that bathroom. It's going to be awful. So,
all right, it's time.
I was watching the timer and it was behind me.
Well, yeah, you're watching it on stream. It's delayed. But
the delay got longer.
Here's the thing.
It's been screwing me up the whole time. But
so Ryan says I'm a world traveler. Don't even have a passport. Will says we got to get away from lakes. Buffalo is literally between two of the greatest lakes.
That was going to be my last point.
There's lakes everywhere. I don't know.
There's lakes everywhere. Right now, it's 50-50 in the vote, which I guess means it's up to me. And hey, if I have to choose between going to Indianapolis or having everyone come to me, I'm going to pick everyone coming to me. Buffalo has a lot of offer. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of want the city to have stuff to do in it for when I'm not playing X-Wing. That's right, rigged, biased. It's all rigged, it's biased. Congratulations, the handsome Will Haigwood being our first. Oh, I never closed betting on that. Oopsies. All right, being our first debate club championship. I think this went really well. Thank you to both for joining us. We are going to go from talking about X-Wing to watching some X-Wing be played with X-Wing debrief. Appreciate you guys joining us. We're going to be back tomorrow with 3 big games. Hope you'll be there. Have a great night, everybody.
Is worse.
And we'll talk to you later.
Oh, cool. Go. No doubt.
Bye, guys.
Join
Go
the
visit
raid.
Indianapolis.
Join the
Get your
raid.
cookie bars.
Watch some X-Wing. We can do it. Bye.
There we go.
All right, we are out.